Have you ever been concerned about your cholesterol? Whether or not you're eating fatty foods that could clog up the arteries and cause a problem down the road? Well, that's something that I think is important for everybody to understand regarding your levels of cholesterol. Now, if you get your cholesterol checked, the numbers mean different things. There is the LDL, which is the bad cholesterol. There's the HDL, which is the good cholesterol, and it actually protects you against heart disease. Then you have the triglycerides, which we are not 100% clear as how they fit into the picture, but they do indicate other health issues that will influence how your cholesterol is processed within the body. Now, your liver makes most of the cholesterol that you find in your body because every single cell in your body has got a phospholipid membrane that contains a lot of cholesterol. And your body is having to replace these cells over and over again because your body is constantly being remodeled. Now, you do consume some of the cholesterol that you also use, but most of it is actually created by your liver. Now, there are some folks who are just so lucky they make lots of cholesterol and they have to live off of things like carrots and broccoli, lots of vegetables, and lean meats. And those are good foods. They're actually healthy for everybody. But we have a variety of choices, and as adults, you have the right to choose, good or bad, what you're going to eat. But you should think every time you put something into your mouth. Now, the LDL is the bad cholesterol. That is considered to be a component of cholesterol that's a little fluffy, a little bit like Velcro, has a tendency to stick to the inside of the arteries, also kind of accumulates together and becomes like a little conglomerate, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It has a rough surface, so then it's easier for it to catch more cholesterol and just continue to nucleate and grow these plaques, which is what usually is the problem for someone who's got coronary artery disease, atherosclerosis of the brain, peripheral vascular disease. These things, these plaques, interfere with circulation. And if you don't have good circulation, you're not going to get oxygen to the tissues that need it to live, which then brings you back to needing more cholesterol of the right source to make the cells that are going to replace the ones that died because they didn't get enough oxygen. Now, the LDL, the bad cholesterol, is not like horrific. It has its good component to it, but too much of a good thing can be a bad thing. And that's where we keep an eye on how high is your LDL. Now, the LDL, or the low density lipid, in general, when we check a person's cholesterol level, should be less than 100 milligrams per deciliter. That's a good goal for most people who are not high risk. You become higher risk with other conditions, such as diabetes. If you have diabetes, the goal is to keep the LDL under 70 milligrams per deciliter. And if you have known heart disease, known cerebral vascular disease, known peripheral vascular disease, then you want to keep that level lower than 50. Now, coronary artery disease is basically the condition that causes a person to have a heart attack. You get a buildup of cholesterol in the arteries, and it kind of shuts down the pipes, makes it difficult for the blood to flow through, and it causes the tissue that is found beyond those narrowings to either become ischemic, which means not enough oxygen, or to infarct, which occurs after there's not enough oxygen for a period of time. When it infarcts, that means that the tissue is dead. It also will turn into a scar. Now, when a person has a reversible defect, which we can see on some of the testing that we do for a person's heart, there is a decrease of flow because of these plaques. The interventions include things such as stenting, which some of you are probably familiar with. And what the stent does is it gets in there on the soft plaque and it kind of opens it up and eventually becomes kind of a part of the blood vessel. Now, if those plaques are calcified, there's a little more work that goes into it by the cardiologist. They have to actually use a balloon and do what's called a balloon angioplasty, where they stick a balloon in there and they blow it up, and it uses so much PSI in order to try to crush that plaque. And then the stent gets deployed, holding the pieces in place, because you don't want any little escapees or you might have other problems. Now, with cerebral vascular disease or atherosclerosis, that is a buildup of cholesterol plaque in the arteries of other parts of the body, such as the brain. You can also have atherosclerosis in your kidneys, which is really bad. You can also have it in your liver, which is also very bad. You want your blood vessels to be open. You want them to freely be able to provide a flow path for your blood in order to get oxygen and nutrients to the tissues and to take the waste products as well as carbon dioxide to the locations such as your lungs where you can eliminate that. Now, the HDL, or the good cholesterol, that's the high density lipids. Those actually are not really implicated in making the problematic plaques. They are a good thing, and the HDL, or the high density lipids, if they're higher, like greater than 50 milligrams per deciliter, it actually decreases your risk of heart disease, which is a wonderful thing. Now, there are foods, certain foods, such as omega-rich foods. You find omega-rich foods in fish, in olives, in olive oil, and avocados. Those things help raise your HDL, and those are the good fatty acids. The bad ones are found more in animal proteins, but not all animal proteins are like that. Like eggs are a good animal protein, and those actually provide a lot of the omega fatty acids that help your body. Fatty foods like the actual like steaks that are riddled with fat, some people find those to be really tasty. And sorry, it's my own personal opinion. I don't like fat on my food, but that's the kind of fat that is dangerous. Now, vegetables will also help kind of clear that stuff out of your system, kind of acts like a little scrubby in your system, but we're going to get back to the cholesterol. We'll talk about veggies another day. The LDL in general is considered the bad cholesterol, even though it's not horrific. It's only bad if you have too much of it. And goodness, doesn't that bring us back to the Aristotelian ethics of balance is the key. HDL is your good cholesterol. Triglycerides, we usually are looking for that level to be less than 150. Now, I have encountered some people who have extreme levels of triglycerides, and those are usually associated with folks who have diabetes and have other metabolic processes that can cause additional health issues. The triglycerides will make your blood a little thicker, and that also has a negative effect on how the blood flows and getting the oxygen and nutrients to the locations that they need to go in order to get oxygen to the tissues, carbon dioxide out of the body, and nutrients to where they need to go, and waste products back to either the liver or the kidneys, which are your filters that help eliminate these things from the body. So when you think about what you're going to eat, try to make good heart healthy choices, because if you're doing something that is heart healthy, you're also doing something that is brain healthy and appendage healthy. Because if you have peripheral vascular disease, it's like having coronary artery disease of the arms and legs, and you don't want to lose those. That can happen. People do end up with amputations because of poor circulation to their limbs. And it's not a pleasant thought. It's kind of hard to walk without a foot or a leg. We do have prostheses, but there is nothing like keeping your body intact if you can. So, when you think about your next meal, try to make good choices. You can have a little bit of the naughty foods. You can't help it. If they're bad for you, they usually taste good. But if they're good for you, you can also enjoy them. And it's a good way to help build a healthier you, because your health is way too important to be taken seriously. So enjoy your meals. Have a little crunch from your vegetables. And make sure you cut the fat off of your meat. Don't mean to sound like a mother, but I guess as a doctor, I kind of am like a mother many times. Well, we'll see what we talk about next time. Healthy eating, healthy living.